Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are tuned in to the Vitamin D podcast, and I'm Dawn Dai, and I'm the host. Now, if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. Thank you for deciding to live your life on purpose and for a purpose. And also, I'm going to tell you now, vitamin D is a pun off of my name. You know how you get vitamin D from the sun, right? Well, my name is Dawn, so I'm here to shed light into your life. You know, one of the principles that, I talk about on each episode on vitamin D, it's all about how you are your greatest asset. Catch it. You are your greatest asset. So all that means is just like a checking or any type of account that you have, you put things in, you take things out. You take allocation of your life and you see what you have and the value of it. Well, I'm here to tell you that your life is your greatest asset. You are your greatest asset because everything is an extension of you. So with vitamin D, that's what it's about. And understanding how you are your greatest asset, it's all about shedding light. And this is the thing. We think of light, we think of joy and happiness. Yes, it is all that and more. But the key to realizing when we talk about shedding light is that it's going to unveil the good and the not so good. I usually say the bad, but I should just say the not so good or the other side. Because when you talk about living your best life on purpose and for a purpose, you need to see a 360 view angle. I mean, think about it. Could you imagine moving through life and only being able to see what's in front of you? While that's the vision and the direction you're going, there's definitely a benefit of having peripheral vision. There's definitely a benefit to do a pivot, to do a turnaround. And that's what we got to do. We got to make sure we see our lives through all angles. So this is your first time. Thank you. Welcome. This is what it's about. Because I want you to be great. And I want you to live every day of your life excited. Huh? So if you can't tell, I'm so excited. I am uber excited, especially about this episode. I have the one and the only Mrs. Vanessa Bell Calloway, and she's joining me on this episode to talk about her role as Lady Ella in Bounce TV's hit series, Saints and Sinners. It's on season 5. And we delve into a few things. If you can't tell already, this series has me sucked in. I talked to both of her kids on the show. That was Jasmine Burke. She portrays the character of Dr. Christy Johnson. And then I had talked to Trey Chaney, who portrays the role as Kendrick. Okay. It's so much. Okay. I'd like to refer to Saints and Sinners as, or as they have referred to it as Jasmine Burke, as a Black soap opera. So that's just a soap opera with a little bit more flavor. You're going to be sitting on the edge of your seats. You're going to be sucking on your fingers. So anyway, I talked to Vanessa Bell Calloway about her character as Lady Ella. And one of the things that I found was interesting because you're on the fence as to whether or not she's a good or a bad person. And what she stood out and was something that she said is that hurt people hurt people. And we unpack on who Lady Ella is. What we can really see and what we can expect to see what's going to happen in season 5. And then also, Mrs. Calloway, she's been married for over 30 plus years. And the thing that's so amazing is that she unveils and unpacks a few things when it comes down to maintaining a happy and healthy marriage. Okay? How you can miss out on your potential life partner if you get caught up sweating the small stuff. Right? Oh, it gets real. But what I walked away more than anything that stood out to me is just the importance of love. It's what we all want. And there's nothing but love and inspiration that's coming from this woman. So let me hush my mouth, buckle up, because now it's time to dive in for your dose of vitamin D.
Get your vitamin D right here with me and get excited about your life.
Midwest in the house.
Hello.
Hello there, Mrs. Calloway. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. I'm talking to you.
Aren't you sweet?
So how are you doing today?
I am doing great. It's a beautiful day here in Atlanta.
I'm so excited to have you now. I done talked to 2 of your kids on the show. I've talked to Dr. Christy, a.k.a. Jasmine, and Kendrick, a.k.a. Trey.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out how do I feel about Lady Ella. So we're going to... This Saints and Sinners is definitely like a drama that has me wound up from left to right, front to back. But first, before I make my judgment and before I dive in, tell me about your character, Lady Ella.
Well, she's evolved a great deal over the years. So when we first met Lady Ella, she was married to Pastor Johnson, and he died. So she became a widow and kind of took over the church. The church has always been a soft spot for her because it was, her husband's church.
She has a soft spot.
Yeah, she got a couple.
Okay.
She got a couple.
I know, I'm just teasing.
A couple. And her father was a pastor. And then, of course, when her mother was introduced in season 2, that was a whole dynamic where you saw her, her mother was the only person who kind of could make her feel like a little girl, make her feel insufficient and insignificant, and unaccomplished. Her mother could just look at her and it just melts her. So, of course, when we see Lady Ella in her world around Cyprus, she bullies people. Basically, she's a bully. She's mean. She's very self-centered, self-serving. She hurts people, and she doesn't care. So her mother and her, now they're kind of divided, and they fight a lot. So she takes a lot, but she's very protective of her children now. When it comes to,
she loves her babies.
When it comes to her babies, don't mess with her babies. She will cut you. So she's evolved a lot, but she's, hurt people, as we say, and this season you're going to really see, she kind of meets her match. She gets hurt. The hurt that she puts out to other people, don't put out what you can't take, right?
Hello? You keep messing with that fire, you're going to get burned.
Right, and she gets burned. But you learn a lot about a Lady Bird and their relationship, and you understand more about them. I'll just leave it at that. Spoiler alert, I can't tell you what happens.
And that's what I saw because, a minute there, you want to look at Lady Ella and it's like, well, where's your heart? But it's the very same thing. And, and that's what I like to talk about on the Vitamin D podcast. Because, it's a pun off of my name. You get vitamin D from the sun. So I'm here to shed light into your life. And so not only are we shedding light what's going on with Saints and Sinners, but also what's going on with Lady Ella. And you made something that was so poignant. You said, hurt people. And what I've realized and what I've saw with this bridge, and I had to tap into a Donnie McClurkin for this one. A saint ain't nothing but a sinner who fell down and got back up. And so just the juxtapose of just saints and sinners, I don't see these as bad people.
No. I mean, they're just regular people trying to make it. And what I love about the show is the church is a backdrop because, so often we want to do church shows and we want everybody to be churchy. Well, I mean, just because you go to church don't mean that you are a bad person or a good person. It just means that you are a person striving. You are a person striving to do the best you can. And we need the guidance of the Lord to help us find those things in ourselves to make us the better person. So these are just regular people who are attached to a church, like so many of us, but in their everyday walk, some of them are trying to really find a better way to do their walk. And some are just trying to survive, and some really don't give a damn, So we're just regular people. Yeah.
Just trying to, I tell people all the time, we are just these spiritual beings having this human experience.
Exactly.
And there's this communication of, I don't subscribe to religion, but my faith in God and my relationship with God is there. But the foundation of coming up in Detroit, I grew up in a Baptist church. That's the family. But to really elevate in the sense to say, hey, can you see me? And I'm not going to spoil it, but honey, I was clutching my pearls at the end of the season 1 premiere. I'm not season 1, season 5 premiere, because it's like, while Lady Ella, I see how she's pulling the strings with Dr. Christy, her daughter Christy, just the manipulation. She gets out of prison and and then it's like, we go on season 5 premiere and it's like, ooh, look what your mama has done to you.
Yeah, she's a manipulator now. That I have to own that.
So let me ask you this. One thing that you said about with your character, Lady Ella, you said she loves her babies. How was she able to understand or even to grasp the idea of love when you look at her relationship with her mother?
Well, sometimes you want to be everything that you didn't have too when you're a mother.
Hey.
You know, so when you can tap into what you feel you were missing, you sometimes overcompensate to give it to other people. So Lady Ella knows what she was missing. And also, you know, you got to remember how Kendrick got here. That was her love child with Rex. You know? And
I can't, is that a homie, lover, friend, or foe?
All of them. That's the thing about Rex and Lady Ella. They, you know, it's like they know, they love each other and they hate each other. And they're the only ones who can do that dance. They do the same dance. And sometimes he leaves, sometimes I leave. And it's like, you can't live with them and you can't live without them. And you're going to see that. You're going to see them again this season. They do this, but in the end, they just can't help it. They just can't help it.
He got that mouth. Yeah. And he just be sipping in the ear.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, like minds think alike. They have like minds.
Birds of a feather flock together.
What was it? It was in episode 4 or was it season 3 or season 4? Might be season 3. And he told Lady Ella, he said, your evil matches mine. And he was trying to let her know, you just like me, Ella. You try to act like you're not like me. But I directed that episode and that scene. I directed that episode and it was a scene where we were having dinner. And because we were kind of starting to date a little bit then. And he was trying to seduce me. And he let me know. He said, your evil matches mine.
Oh. So is she scared of him?
Oh, no. He's the only one that, you know, in a strange way that she really knows. And she trusts him because she knows who he really is.
Come on. Wait a minute. I felt that.
Yeah. No, so she knows him, you know, and she knows what he's capable of. And she knows that he's always going to come to her rescue. And he always does. Even when he swears he's through with her, that's the first person she calls to save her is Rex. And he always does. So no, she's not scared of him.
I had to jump up on a couple reasons because Rex, just like how when you can be blended in so many categories, it's the flexibility. It's like you never know what you're going to get with him on a different day, right? But the thing that you said was keen to me is that she doesn't fear him because she sees him. And it makes me think of when you think about fear overall, it's false evidence appearing real. And I tell people all the time, even when you talk about being your best self and stepping into something, if I see you, what can you do to me? I know which angle that you're coming to me. Exactly. When I lived in New York, that was one thing that I felt like I really got my gangster card up because just walking around, New York taught me a sense to see. I'm walking down the street on 145th. I see you. How you doing? And I think in life, if we come in that disposition, if just to head something head on, fear ain't got nothing on me because I see you, boo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So my thing is this. Why does she have to keep Rex around?
Because he knows where all her body's buried. He got most stuff on her. Just like she know him, he know her. And now they say you keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. You know, and then there's a sickness with them. They have to have each other. They don't want each other the way other people want each other. And Lady Ella plays with them. She messes with them all the time. She just strings them along, poor little thing.
Honey, I said, Mrs. Calloway is holding. When you came in there with your lingerie, you threw it off. Rex even forgot what was going on.
Yeah.
And it's just so interesting that they say, like a way to a woman's heart is through her ears, and a way to a man's heart is through their eyes. And I see how you guys are doing this dance that you're saying with one another. So when we talk about Lady Ella, and without giving too much, where is this going? And ultimately, what does she want?
You know, Ella really wants to be loved. That's really her biggest problem.
She keep pushing everybody away.
She really wants to be loved. And she wants that love of a father and, you know, that kind of love, the love of a mother. You know, where you see the dynamics between her and her mother, you know. She just wants to be loved. And like we said, her people hurt people. So she is pushing people away because she's hurt. But she meets her match this season. And she's hurt. So the hurt that she's inflicted on other people, she gets one even better. And it crushes her. Really? Because of the person that the hurt's coming from, that inflicted the pain. I'll just say that.
She let hurt her like that.
I'm going to say that. The person inflicting the pain, it hurts even more because of who it is and what she thought it was going to bring to her life.
Oh, that expectation.
Yeah. She thought that this person was going to help change her life. And just like everything else, she gets played.
So wait a minute. Okay. You can't tell us what is going on.
I can't tell you what. I can't. Keep watching because those episodes are coming up. And the other episode that you're going to really need to see, and I can't remember which episode it is this scene with Lady Bird and Lady Ella. And it's Donna Briscoe, who plays my mother, does a beautiful job in this scene. It's a beautiful scene. And you really will find out a lot about Lady Bird and Lady Ella and why they are the way they are. And it's going to all reveal, it's going to reveal a whole new side of things. And it's going to give you a whole different understanding of these characters. That's all I can say.
I came at the premiere of season 5 and I thought I got something because I'm looking at Lady Bird and I'm like, it's just people in the church, this whole having to put on, you know, trying to hold up to a certain standard, rather than it's just like, let God do that work. And why don't you just do you and just be human?
Exactly.
So it's so interesting that, and I'm just wondering how you pulled this in with your character. You've been married for over 30 years. Mm-hmm. Understanding and knowing what love looks like, knowing the ups and downs, the roller coasters, the twists and turns. How did you use, I guess, what you knew to either put or to take away from Lady Ella? Because she's kind of like the opposite of what you would say who you are in your marriage.
Yeah. Oh, she's nothing like me. Nothing like me. It's fun playing her, but I wouldn't want to be her. No, I wouldn't want to be that lady for all the tea in China. That's probably a lonely place. You see, she ain't got no friends on the show. That's my joke. I ain't got no friends, no girlfriends come over. I don't go out to dinner with nobody. I don't go to hear no music. Keith, his character sings, you know, Miles, he's a singer and he's singing at the little club. I don't never go hear him sing. I don't do nothing. So she's lonely, but there's a price to pay for when you are not a nice person to people and you don't, you know, bring people into your environment and share and loving and kind. It's a price to pay. So no, I wouldn't want to be her. But yes, I've been married for 33 years in September with my husband.
Congratulations.
For 35. Thank you. And it's a lot of work, you know, you got to put the work in.
So what advice would you give Lady Ella about finding love and marriage and just finding a good man?
You can't be a selfish person. That's Lady Ella is selfish. She's self-serving. And you can't expect somebody to want to come into that environment unless they are some type of crooked person too, who is self-serving and selfish and they got a plan because they're trying to get some out of you. Then the love's not real because they're using you and you're using them, right? So you first of all, you gotta love yourself and you gotta stop hurting yourself because the way you treat yourself is how you're gonna treat somebody else.
What you say? Hold on. One thing I talk about on the Vitamin D podcast is how you are your greatest asset. Right. And that's just realizing when we talk about money, you know what you put into your account and what you take out of your account. And let's face it, life is ups and downs, but it's about finding that balance so that you can adjust, because then everything that's an extension of you, like you said, your relationship, how your hygiene is, your career, your faith, is all of a temperature check as to where you are. So interesting. 𝘸𝘪𝘵 has said it in a song. She said, love is not about how much you can take, but how much you can give. Mm-hmm. Stats are showing folks ain't getting married how they used to. Now, I'm a millennial.
Yeah.
I'm in my 30s. I think to myself, well, what is it? You know, people said that marriage, people stepped into it for love, but is it unfair to say that probably then, or, you know, years prior, it was a business exchange? Because I may have stayed through your BS because I didn't have a job. I had to think about the livelihood of my family. But when you talk about millennials nowadays, we are ambition. We're going after our dreams. So if I'm not here for the BS, I can survive without you. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, you know, everybody has the right to feel and do what they need in their lives. But I'll say this, there's no relationship that's not going to have a challenging moment or two or a compromise. So if you say, oh, I don't need you because I got my own money, and that's cool. But is that what you want? Do you want to be by yourself? Do you want not to have children? Do you want not to have a family? And a lot of people want that. So if that's what you want, that's good. But if you want a union that's going to mean something, especially down the road, if you want a union that's going to produce children, yeah, that's some BS you're going to put up with, you know? But guess what? There's some BS he going to put up with about you too.
That's right.
You know, you got to bring more to the table than just an appetite. Ooh. You know, how are you building?
Caught it.
Are you guys trying to build together? Because, yeah, there's going to be some stuff that goes down. And now what level of degree, I mean, you know, I can't speak on that. Every marriage is different. But if you think every day is going to be lovey-dovey and you know, rubbing feet together every night, no, it ain't like that. Love changes. And you've got to be able to change with the love. And that doesn't mean that's a bad thing. Love changes doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It just means that as you grow, love means different things to you. It provides different things. It feels a different way. And you grow with that. And if you don't sometimes, then that's what breaks people up. People change. Doesn't mean that it's a bad change. But the person that you met at 30 or whatever, and you get married, this not going to be the person you're going to be with 20 years from that. And you won't either. And if you are, then something's not right.
Oh, come on.
Something didn't happen. If you're that same person he married, you know, then there was some growth that you missed, you know, so it's going to be change, and that's okay. And so when people say, oh, I don't need to be bothered, and I got my son, and I got my own money, and okay, I got my own money too, and I'm married, I make my own money, I make my own living, but it's better to share it. And it's more fun to plan together. You know, it's more fun to be with, you know, the love of my life for me than not. So when other things occur, you deal with it. You just kind of chalk it up as what it is and keep it moving. So I'm lucky I haven't had to put up with any BS in my marriage, and it would be pretty cut and dry. But yeah, I don't like him sometimes. He get on my nerves. Sometimes he probably don't like me, you know. And sometimes I get on his nerves, but we love each other all the time.
So and how did you, or when did you know that with your husband?
The moment I looked at him, I knew. We went on one date and we've never been apart. The moment I just knew, especially after that first date.
Well, what happened?
It was just a feeling. It was a conversation. Wow. It was just, and we went on one date. We never broke up. We never almost broke up. And a year and 8 months later, we were married. It just was going that way. And it was obvious to him. It was obvious to me. So we didn't fight it. And I was 29. Amen. Yeah, I was 29 and he was 26 when we met.
Wow.
Yes. And by the time we got married, I was 31 and he was 28. We didn't fight it. See, that's the thing. We didn't fight it. Mm-hmm. You know, he wasn't like, oh, but if I get married, I can't run after no more tail. You know, and I wasn't like, oh, is there somebody better out here for me? Because see, God will send you your husband and you let him go, or you get him ready and give him to another woman. I've seen that happen a lot.
What you mean? Because we didn't take enough time with him?
Or he wasn't tall enough, or he had one one quirk you didn't like or something that was probably, when you look back years later, was really irrelevant. And you don't, well, yeah, he's nice. He's a really nice guy. Okay, so let's focus on that. He's a really nice guy. Yeah, he's got a good job. Okay, let's focus on that.
Okay.
But he just ain't, I like him taller, or his skin color ain't my favorite color, or, I don't know, he's a little heavier than I normally like my man to be, or what little things like that women get real picky about. Now, if he's mean and he beats you and has no ambition,
hit the road, Jack.
Those are reasons you leave somebody, But when it's some little things and it's like, oh, I don't like the way he dresses. Okay, well, yeah, we can work on that. Little things like that. It's like when I met my husband, I made a list of 1 to 10.
Before you met him?
No, after I met him, when I was dating him. And I put his qualities down. And it was 1 to 10. And there was about 3 things that I was like, he does this, he does that. And when I looked at that list, I said, is this a deal breaker, Vanessa? It was like, no, it's not. You'll be fine.
You'll be all right.
So, because I didn't ask him if he did a list for me. And I didn't want to know, because I didn't want to know what his 3 things might have been.
One thing that I appreciate that you said, and it's something that really stood out to me. I studied improv over at the Groundlings Theater. Mm-hmm. And we, step into the whole notion of a yes and. And it's about receiving what's coming that way. And then that and is the addition for me and that whole moving forward. And one of the key things that you kept saying with yourself is that even in your relationship, and heck, if somebody have just studied your background of the work, is that you have consistently to keep moving forward. And I feel like oftentimes in life, that's where we get stuck at, because when, as you say, oh, you got on my nerves. Oh, I don't like the way you said this, or what you're wearing, or how your hair looked this way, and just whatever reason to dismiss somebody, but rather than using those additive qualities and just moving forward. So I got to ask you, what's next for you, Mrs. Calloway?
Well, there's a lot going on for me. I've been very blessed. So thank you, Jesus, first for that. Right now I'm directing a TV movie for TV One, a Christmas movie. It's a lovely story. It's a love story. It's called Someday at Christmas. It's going to come on in Christmas 2022. So I'm literally in Atlanta directing that. I have 1 week left. I wrap on next week. And I'm also recurring on BET Games People Play, and I'm recurring on BET's Sacrifice, their new show that's starring Paula Patton. So I'm starring on that. I was just wrapped up seasons before Shameless for Showtime. That's the 11th season, the last season. I was on since season 1. So just wrapped that, and it finished just airing. And I also just played Keenan's mother on the on his new show. Keenan from Thompson from Saturday Night Live. I just played his mother. That just aired last week. And I'm in a couple of movies out now. I mean, I'm busy. It's really great. I got a couple of things that I'm waiting to hear about. But right now, I'm just trying to finish this movie up so that you guys can enjoy this beautiful love story, Christmas love story. And finishing up Sacrifice. I got to go back to New Orleans and do that. And then we're going to wait and see if we get picked up for season 6 for Satan Sinners.
Hey, I'll live in the speak it how you want it kind of lifestyle. Yeah. So I'm speaking life. It's already coming.
I hope so. I wouldn't mind doing a season 6.
Well, I'm telling you now, I just posted up on Steve Harvey FM about the season 5 premiere, and everybody was going up, talking about all the drama, all the pros. So I'm sitting on the edge of my seat from it. And let me just say, thank you for sharing your body of work. Thank you for being bold and unapologetic with your dreams. Thank you for being an inspiration to show that you can be a boss in your career and still have a relationship and a beautiful family.
And you are just the sweetest little, just adorable. Because Dawn, I just love you. Your energy is infectious, and you're just shining so bright and so positive. What we need to hear, what your millennial crew needs to hear. I have daughters your age, so I'm sure you're in that group, but just beautiful meeting you. And you're such a light, such a bright light to this world and to what you're contributing. So thank you. Thank you. Seriously, thank you.
Well, thank you. This is my dream. So thank you for being a part of it.
And thank you for unapologetically going after your dreams, sister.
Hey. Now, before you get out of here, this is one thing that I ask for people to do. Like I said, vitamin D is a multivitamin for your mind. So just a dose of inspiration that you can leave, whether about love, relationship, life, something that you live by, a quote, a song, whatever, however, just make the people feel good.
Well, this is something I live by, and I tell people all the time, stay ready to be ready. And what that means is whatever you need to fix it. If you don't like your attitude, you don't like the way your hair looks, your teeth need fixed, you want to lose that 10 pounds, do whatever it is you need to do. Because when that moment comes, you don't have time to get ready. So however you look on Friday, you're going to look that way on Monday. It's not going to magically change over the weekend. And whatever energy you are, that's the energy you're giving. So stay ready to be ready. Because when that door opens, you got to kick it down, whatever your dream is, whatever you're doing. But you got to be ready.
Catch it. You heard it right here in the industry from the one and only Mrs. Vanessa Bell Calloway. Thank you, Queen.
Thank you.
Stay ready. Did you catch it? You know, I've heard folks say oftentimes that if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. That's a treat. And catch this. You're going to have to stay ready because you're going to consistently keep going. And you know you're going to keep going because every day that you have breath in your lungs and you don't stop until that breath is gone. So I don't care what you're going through. Understand you're going to have to keep on keeping on. But I hope you enjoyed that conversation because I sure did. If you haven't checked out Saints and Sinners, that you are probably on the edge of your seats about to check it out because these are real people. These are real folk that's just trying to make it through life. And that's each and every one of us. It doesn't matter what your background. I mean, look at them. They come from a line of folks in the church and you see what's going on. So I hope we come into this and stopping the whole notion of trying to judge people, trying to hold people at a different standard and stop putting so much pressures on people to do because at the end of the day, it's all about loving who you are and walking authentically in who you are. And also understanding that even though with Lady Ella, right, she comes with the circumstances of all her disadvantages that she looks at, and she still is able to be a mother to her children. Because sometimes we operate in what we don't have so that we can get to what we do want. And I want you to keep in mind like that. I've said that before, and I'll say it again. Your location is not your destination. But also keep in mind that how you do anything is how you'll do everything. You have the power to create the new narrative on your life. Okay? And just like Vanessa Bell Calloway said, there is a narrative that's going to unfold with Lady Ella. Her boat is about to get rocked. Buckle up. And then also she talks about all of her countless other projects. So I'm sure you'll want to dive in and you want to check that out, okay? I hope you enjoyed this episode. I am so excited about this journey that I'm on. So make sure that you check out Saints and Sinners on Bounce TV Sunday nights, 9/8 Central. Okay? Don't say I didn't tell you. All right? Well, I want to say thank you for joining me on this journey of my dreams. This is Vitamin D. This is what it's about. Come on, somebody. We're shedding light on things because we got to live life on purpose and for purpose. Huh? We got to live while we're still alive, huh? So check out these other episodes. And if you feel compelled that perhaps you'd like to be a guest, or if you'd like to submit a letter because you need some advice, email me, VitaminD@DawnDaiSpeaks.com. My assistant, Jeremiah, he's going to dive in there and he's going to pull it out. And then we're going to read them on air and then we're going to have a verbal relation. Just simple a conversation. Also, have you checked out my YouTube channel? Yes, Vitamin D is on YouTube. Search Dawn Dai Speaks, and you can see now a live representation of the conversations that we have going on. And then also, in the meantime, if you need some extra vitamin D in your life, feel free to follow me on all social media at Dawn Dai Speaks, okay? Greater is coming. You hear me? I said greater is coming. See, I expect exceedingly and abundantly because I live a yes and type of lifestyle. All right, I'm getting out of here. Thank you for choosing you. Thank you for loving on you. And I want you to always remember, you are your greatest asset.